Hey guys, in this lecture we'll be talking about variables and data types, which is a very important concept in programming. A variable is something that holds a value, and that value can change. That's why they call it variable, because it varies. And the data type is the type of this data. Is it an integer? Is it a decimal? Is it what kind of data are we storing in this variable? So we have two types of data types. In Java, we have the primitive or the basic, and then we have the no primitive or object data type. We're not going to be talking about this for now, so we're going to focus only on the primitive data types. We have 8 of them, but only 4 will be tested on. You will be tested on in the AP exam. So we have Boolean, which is either true or false. So this type of variable can hold only 2 values, true or false. There is a char or character, so it holds only one single character. And then we have the numbers. We have 2 types. We have the integer, and you have 4 of them: byte, short, integer, and long. And they're exactly the same thing. The only difference is the size. Like, for example, byte can hold 1 byte or 8 bits. Short can hold 16 bits. Integer can hold up to 32 bits, and long can hold up to 64 bits. Now, the other type is floating point or decimal. We have 2 types. We have float and double. And it's the same thing. The only difference is the size. So float can hold like 32 bits, and double can hold double that size, which is 64 bits. Okay, so as I said, there are only 4 of them that we're going to focus more on. So which is Boolean, integer, char, and double. Okay, now let's move on to the next slide. So here, this table, it shows the memory usage for each data type. So for example, byte can hold only between negative 128 and 127. So if you have any number outside this range, so byte may not be enough space. So short integer, as you can see, this is the same thing. The only difference is how much they can hold, the capacity, the size of the variable. So here we have 4 of them. The same thing for floats and double and char. Okay. So as I said, the most important ones we're going to be using are integer, double, char, and Boolean. Okay. So this picture shows the capacity of each one of them. So as you can see, byte is the smallest one. It can hold only up to 8 bits. Short is twice, so that's 16 bits. Integer is 32 bits, and double is 64. So that shows you that I can store an integer variable inside a double variable, but not the other way around, because the integer can fit into a double, but double cannot fit into an integer. Now, can we convert from primitive to objects? Yes, we can do that using the wrapper class. We'll talk about this later on, but for now, just understand that I can convert from one to the other, depending on my needs. Okay, now here in this slide, we'll be talking about the declaration, how to declare a variable and how to assign a value to it. Now, to declare a variable, you need 2 things. You need the data type and then the name of the variable. And that name has certain rules. You cannot name it anything you want. We'll talk about this later on, okay? there are some rules, like 4 rules that you have to respect, you have to follow. Now, talking about the declaration, you need 2 things. You need the data type, integer, char, double, boolean, whatever it is, and then you put the name of the variable next to it, and then of course you end with semicolon. Now, this is only the declaration. That means it's empty. There is no value assigned to it. Most of the time we declare and then we assign the value in the same statement. But in some situations, for whatever reason, we declare it and then we assign the value later on. So in the second part here, it shows how to assign a value. So here it's already declared. You don't have to declare it again. And then you assign the letter A or character A in the variable flag. Okay. So in the next lecture, we're going to learn how to, or we're going to practice the declaration and the initialization of variables. Thank you for watching.